welcome to Hardies. We are the official after show of the Hardies, as well as a podcast now. And we bring your questions directly to the cast and crew. I'm Marg from San Diego, California.
I'm Lori from Mobile, Alabama.
Hey guys, Jeanette from East Lansing, Michigan.
We are exceedingly happy and privileged to have the actress that so many of us grew up watching and who's gracing our season on When Calls the Heart this year as Georgie McGill. Welcome, Melissa Gilbert.
Hi there.
Yay.
And where are you right now?
I'm in New York City. I'm doing an off-Broadway play called Still. So I'm in our apartment in the city. I was in Albuquerque actually while we were shooting When Calls the Heart, because my husband is executive producing a series that is shot there. And so we were supposed to be there for 7 months, but I left early to come here and do this play. And we just opened last week.
Wonderful. Oh, we want to hear about that. But I also want to hear what is Timothy's show in Albuquerque? Can you say?
It's a show on Fox. Yeah, it's his second season producing the show. It's called The Cleaning Lady, and it's been on for this is its fourth season.
And we're very familiar with The Cleaning Lady.
Yes. Yeah, one of our
executive producer in charge of production.
Yeah, one of our When Calls the Heart favorites, Daniel Lissing, made a brief appearance on The Cleaning Lady back in the first season. So,
okay.
When Calls the Heart tie in there.
Wow, I love it.
It's kind of everywhere. The show's been on for so long. I think everyone's worked everywhere at this point.
Yeah, so true.
Amazing. And and you had a big press day today. We saw you were kind of all over the place.
Yes, I was. I was on Good Day New York, and then over at the View, and yeah, it's my day off. And now I'm here with you, and this is my one day.
Amazing! Wow, and doing an off-Broadway play is no small undertaking. Is it one performance? Is it one performance a day, or is it a couple?
On Thursdays and Saturdays we have 2.
Wow. That is a grueling schedule. Amazing.
It is. Cool. I'm very. We're very lucky though. It's a fast show. It's 75 minutes max straight through.
Oh, great. Oh, straight through with no intermission.
No intermission.
Well, we do have some parties who are headed there. In the solicitation post, they were like, "Oh, we're going. We have tickets." And so another crossover. Amazing.
Love that.
I know. It's great when that works out.
It really is.
Lori, take it away.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your time with us today.
My pleasure.
Well, the Hardies turned out in droves for your debut as Georgie McGill. After all, your arrival has been anticipated for months now. Heather Hood of Minneapolis said, "I was one of the Hardies who attended the Hardies family reunion, and I had tears in my eyes when you were introduced. I am essentially your generation. I grew up watching you on TV as if you were a sibling. So having you on When Calls the Heart is a bit like coming full circle. The past and the present joining hands." I think Heather speaks for a lot of us who feel the same way. Did it feel like a full circle moment to you at the Hardies family reunion?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had such chills when I walked out. You could see it, in the video of when Michael introduced me. And walking out to him is the fullest circle moment of all, because we've been friends for 50 years. And almost they're like my siblings from other parents, that whole family. So it was really, I was so excited to get the call from him asking if I'd be interested in doing the show first, and then just the fact that it all worked out and I was able to be there for the Hardies family reunion and be the surprise guest was really a blessing. And it was a really wonderful event. It's a very special group of people that you guys are, the fans of this show, truly, and reminds me a lot of the Little House fans. And
I bet
it does.
It
felt like coming home on so many different levels.
Oh,
that's so sweet. Thank you. Well, speaking of Michael Landon Jr., he said it dawned on him to have you on the show while he was at the Little House on the Prairie 50th anniversary reunion with 20,000 fans in Simi Valley. I cannot imagine 20,000 fans. Hardy Sherry Foley of Montana asked, "What is it like to be working with Michael?"
Oh, it's so much fun. We have just a shorthand together, and he's just a really great producer, and he's really good at his job. And I was very excited that they gave me the leeway to play Georgie the way I wanted to as well, with Michael's support. Nobody really balked when I said, I think she's Irish, you guys. I really do.
Love.
And it just felt right to me, and everybody was on board. And he's just been very, very, very wonderful, very supportive, very straightforward. Um, it's again, it is like working with a brother. I mean, the best way to describe it is my prom date's my boss.
That is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Wow.
Have you kept up with your prom date over the years? I mean, life is full, and you guys are doing projects and doing things all the time. So
We do. We check in pretty regularly.
Oh,
I
that's
actually
nice.
speak with Leslie, his sister Leslie, more than Michael, just because
Okay.
Leslie is so much closer and have
Mhm.
Yeah.
remained so close over the years.
Nice.
But the major events in our lives, we're always involved in
Nice.
cheering each other on.
Well, it's just so cool that a project can bring you together like this again. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Did he, well, because I think you stayed and shot on set a bit around that time of HFR, right? Did Michael kind of hang around while you were shooting on Wind Calls, or did he kind of let you do your thing?
No, he
Okay.
didn't. I actually was not shooting at that time, so I flew in just
Oh,
for
okay.
Oh.
You did? Oh, that makes us feel even better. That's
Holy
awesome.
cow.
Thank you.
Amazing.
That's very
Cool.
sweet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was actually working on our fall shoot for Modern Prairie in Sundance, Utah. So
Oh,
I
okay.
I came in from Utah for that event and then went back to Utah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I
Well,
like
we
these.
definitely want to dive into Georgie a little bit. And we did notice that, which we love, that Little House fans also have a Facebook group, just like the Hardys. So there's a great similarity there. And we noticed that a lot of them are talking that they loved that Georgie likes to fish, just like Laura Ingalls did. Caroline Richardson of Dalzell, South Carolina asked if Georgie and Laura have any other similarities.
Aside from the person playing them, I think there's a moxie to Georgie that I think is a very Laura Ingalls Wilder thing, which is also a very Melissa thing. Her ability to navigate in this man's world and a man's job that honestly, truthfully, didn't exist until the 1960s. There were no women in the RCMP until then. But so to be a trailblazer in that way, and to be that kind of outspoken, and also to be on the side of what's right as an officer of the law is, those qualities are all very sort of Laura-ish to me, for sure. What do
Who's
you
your
think?
friend here?
Sundance. She's from Sundance, Utah.
Sundance from Sundance.
Yes, and my other dog, Chicago, is from
Chicago.
Do they have Instagram pages? Hardys are going to want to follow the dogs.
I don't have a hard enough time keeping up with my own Instagram.
Right.
I don't think
Yeah.
I have
It's
the
a lot.
wherewithal to be the dog Instagrammer.
Yeah, do you enjoy being in period pieces? I mean, is that fun for you to have an updo? And it's not braids, but you probably
My
did a lot
husband
of
will tell
updos.
you I never met a corset I didn't like.
Yes, okay.
As uncomfortable as they can be, for this particular character, it really works too, even though all of the rest of the women on the show are pretty much out of corsets because their silhouettes have changed because we're in the 1920s now.
Yes.
But I wanted Georgie to be, first of all, she's older than everybody. So there is the tendency to stick with what we know and what we're comfortable with. And because she's very, her costume is very utilitarian, very official, very almost masculine. So I wanted the silhouette to have the corset too, to add a little bit of femininity, because I'm in those, basically tweed suit. It's a lot. When I asked for a corset, I sort of got the side eye, like, you want a corset? Sure. but it makes me walk differently. It changes my posture. It makes me breathe differently. I sound differently. And I think there was value in that for this particular character. I wouldn't normally strap myself into one of those if I didn't have to, but I felt it was important for her.
That's so interesting. We just talked to Miranda McDougall, who's playing Edie Martell this season, and she's been in a lot of, live, theater and that kind of thing. And she said very similar kinds of things that being in a period piece, you walk a different way. The costume really completely changes it. So that's
Absolutely.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. Makes a big
Yeah.
difference.
Can't imagine it was too comfortable in that crowded train set though. That doesn't look very big there.
That was my first day too. So I was so nervous anyway that I didn't even notice that I was uncomfortable at all.
Nervous.
Good.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You always get nervous?
first day, yeah. On a new
Okay.
set where I don't really know anybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, really didn't know.
Well, the nerves fuel the performance too, so that's always
It worked because
Yeah.
she's excited and nervous to be alone with him in the train car.
We felt it. We really did.
Oh, yeah,
They are sparkly, aren't they? Those two.
they are.
They
We
are.
love the sparkly.
I love that word for them. That's great. We have another Hardy question. Tanya Lambert Burgess of Goshen, Indiana asks, what is your favorite aspect of the Georgie storyline so far?
I kind of really dig the way it's just a given that she's one of the guys on this. Like nobody reacted that I was there because I was a woman. The reaction was because Bill knew Georgie and they have this history. But just that there was not that big a deal, having a woman be the forensic investigator on this was that's the way it is, which I think is pretty cool. I like that a lot. I love a good romance, so it's fun for me to play the potential of a romance here. We don't really know where it's going yet. Well, I sort of do, but I don't in a lot of ways. Like I know what the episode is that we shot, but I don't know what the future holds for the show, for me, for any of it at this point. So we'll see. But
It's the sparkly at this
that's up
point.
to the Hardys too. If
Yeah.
the Hardys like this relationship and they're supportive of it, then I guess the producers will pay attention. And so far, what I've read has been positive. So we'll see. I've been lurking.
We love it. We love a good lurker.
No, I think it's been very positive.
Oh,
Don't you
yeah,
agree?
it has been.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Extraordinarily. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Parties are
Absolutely.
happy to see Bill happy because he's had his heart broken a few times in the
Yes,
past.
I gather.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to be the one to make him happy.
Yeah.
If I can. I mean, I don't know. Who knows
Yes.
what they want to do with us, They may
Right.
just want him to be this sad, broken-hearted dude forever. We don't know.
Oh, we hope not.
Well, Tanya, that same Hardy actually noted, she thought it was interesting that the play, we'll take a little sidebar here for a second. The play you're doing is also a story about rekindling love from decades prior, kind of similar to Bill and Georgie. So
Very
can
much
you
so.
tell us a little bit? You're on off-Broadway in the play called Still, right? So
Still is
how's
the
that
story
going?
it's going well. It's going well. We just opened last week. So Still is the story of a couple who had been a couple 30 years ago and haven't seen each other in at least almost that long. And now are meeting up to see if they can rekindle this relationship. But throughout the course of the play, you find out that both of them have some secrets. And his secret is revealed is that he's considering running for Congress, and they are, and the big secret is he's running in the party that she doesn't support. So they're politically opposed.
Oh, wow.
Other
So
secret-
timely.
Yes, it takes place now. So the conversation's about now and the
Okay.
current climate, and basically the larger story is how can we find a way for people to get along and be loving to each other in this climate of vitriol and anger and bitterness on all the way around, on all sides of the argument. The volume's up so high and people are so quick to be horrible to each other. And these two people were really meant to be together. And there's a couple other secrets that are revealed too that I'm not going to talk about because they're secrets.
You can't blow it all.
Yeah, we can't blow it all. And I do think that, we don't really answer the question. We give hope that it's possible, but you don't know at the end of the play if they're going to end up together or not. It feels like maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow. I
That
love
seems
that.
so reminiscent of kind of the story we're telling on When Calls the Heart to this season, with the diametrically opposed viewpoints that Rosie is trying to do on her radio show. And I think the writers are getting at that too. Like, how can we have and they've done it for years. How can we have a more civil dialogue and
Well,
learn to talk to each other again and listen to, and probably more importantly, listen to one another. So,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
think they have a better shot at it back in those days because they didn't have the internet to create the distance.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Say
True.
things they wouldn't say to each other's faces.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
they're
was
not
just gonna
being
say, very applicable to our fandom as well, over 12 years of this season of finding that place of love and the things that unify us,
Yeah.
as in any TV fandom, you have ebbs and flows, and it's a
Yep.
great message. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hardy's on the East Coast. Go check it out. How many weeks left in the run?
Till mid-March, and if we get an extension, if sales go well, then we'll be there till April 12th, I believe. But till definitely till March 23rd, I think is
Okay.
the end date.
exciting,
Mhm.
exciting. So we interviewed Martin Wood, the director, on Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday, and he said it was such a joy to witness you and Jack coming together and working together. I think his exact words were, "They got on like a house of fire." Was that your
We did.
interpretation?
Yes, yeah, we got on great. Jack is such a sweet gentleman too. He's so concerned. He wanted to make sure I knew where to go and everything was taken care of, and that he's just a sweet, sweet guy. And I'll tell you though, the one thing that was really funny was the girls in the makeup trailer said, "You guys, Jack was on Dancing with the Stars. You were on Dancing with the Stars too." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah," but and I like zoned. Neither of us remembered that we were on the same season. That's how old we are.
Wow.
Oh.
Because
So
when you
funny.
do that show, you're separate from everybody.
Right, right. Of course you were.
Oh.
Own rehearsal space every day. The only time you come together is on tape day. And
Right.
that's so you're only there for a couple hours and you're so focused on the dancing, you don't even socialize. There was no socializing at all. So we never really
Wow.
saw each other. So when we both realized that we were the same season, we both were like, smack me in the head. I can't
So
believe
funny.
it.
Now I think I saw that you came in 5th. Do you remember where he fell he wasn't the champion, I don't think, that year, unless we've
No,
all forgotten.
I think Jack got Jack got voted off before I did. I know
Okay, okay,
that.
okay.
That was one of the questions at our cast dinner was, and which
Got
one
it.
lasted the longest? And Jack was like, "Oh, it was her." Um, he did great though. Gosh,
Yeah.
he was great.
I
I-
need to find it. I need to find it now and watch. We
Mhm.
need the Hardys to be able to see some clips from
It's
this.
all there on YouTube. You can
Okay,
find it.
beautiful. All right, we
Oh,
will.
everything's on
So,
YouTube, including us.
were you a General Hospital fan back in the day? I mean, to me, it would be pretty great to work with Frisco Jones.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't suck.
Yeah.
I did hospital. I watched not a ton, but when I had my first baby. So when I was pregnant in 88, he was born in 89. And then when I had, an infant at home, I got into um, the ABC lineup, and General Hospital was one of them. So yes, I was quite aware of Frisco Jones.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
He
it's
has a
fun.
certain appeal, Jack Wagner. I love him in this role. He's so comedically gifted, and so I'm thrilled to see a sparring partner, an equal come in with that moxie. It's very fun. So
Yeah, we have a lot of fun together, and I think this, it'll give them. Hopefully they'll give us more to do together, in the future because I think it's a lot of fun, and I also think there's value in showing, that just because we're over 60 doesn't mean we're dead. We can fall in love, we can have a wonderful time, we can flirt, we can giggle, we can blush. It
I
doesn't
love
end,
that.
because your hair turns gray. Well,
Well,
my
we
heritage.
certainly saw that in front of Nathan Grant. My goodness,
Yes.
I love the way that was shot, and it was just, it was classic.
You
Classic.
only
Yeah.
had eyes for each other.
Yeah, it was like there was no one else there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so sweet. Love that. We're going to go back to our Hardee's questions. Angie Durden of San Bruno, California. You already touched on this a little bit, but what were your thoughts and feelings on the first day? Did you have costume fittings? How did it all begin?
I went up a couple days before I started shooting for costume fittings and to just have a little hair and makeup play time. And and then I was just kind of on my own in the hotel waiting for the next day. I did sleep. I didn't anticipate that I would because I was so excited and nervous and excited. And all the things that actors get before the first day of school. But you know, I'm always waiting. I'm so spoiled growing up on the Little House on the Prairie set because everyone was close, everyone was family, everyone got along well. There was a shorthand. Our days were never long. They'd been working together since Bonanza, most of the crew, and High Chaparral, some of them even before that. So everyone knew everyone really well, and it was just a glorious place to work. And there were no egos. There was nothing. We all had the same dressing room sizes. It was just very equal across the board. There were no perks, no special treatment, unless there were a couple people who came in as guest stars, but they had like medical issues, and that's why they got that. I've since worked on so many other projects and TV series, movies, TV movies and stuff where it's not like that. And I've gotten used to having to kind of navigate who's the problem, who's going to be difficult, where is it going to, why, when do I have to pull back, who do I have to avoid? And this set was not like that at all. This set felt very much like the Little House set. And they all socialize together and hang out together and love each other. I mean, 12 years later, they're still, like a family. And that, again, when I say it felt like going home, that was another aspect of it that felt like going home again. And the crew too, everybody has the shorthand. The days are not so long. Everybody knows their job. They just go in, they do it, they go home.
It's so interesting that you said that because joining the Little House page, which I hadn't been on before, but I wanted to do some research, that it's like you're reflecting exactly what was said about the Little House set and how Michael Landon, was so beloved, and he would insist on shorter days. He was very efficient, and if the game was on Monday Night Football or whatever, he's like, well, we need to get you out of here so we could get home to this good football game. I mean, just like, a real family kind of environment. And I think that's exactly what we hear anyway is certainly true of our shows. So I'm glad that you found that to be the case. That's
Yeah,
nice.
everyone was just really warm and really welcoming and just adorable. And all those kids, oh my God, they're so sweet, all the little ones.
Well, we talked to Jada last week and we asked her if she'd gotten any scenes with you or had an opportunity to talk to you because she's such a soaring talent. We're seeing what we've always seen, but we're seeing even more in these last two seasons, and feels like you guys would have a lot to say to each other.
We chatted. We haven't
Okay.
worked together, but we've chatted.
Yeah, good. I'm sure all the kids would love to have a chat with you. That's amazing.
Well, we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, I know. Let's do it. Okay.
We're hoping. We're hoping. Well, you mentioned Walnut Grove, and Hardee's have questions about Walnut Grove. That Shay Van Buren of Manchester, Michigan, she said her impression was that Walnut Grove was a practical set, a lot like Hope Valley is, like the Jamestown set is.
Sort of. The interiors were not shootable. They were hollowed out and oftentimes used as our schoolroom. Sometimes, like in Nellie's restaurant, there would be tables and stuff set up in case they caught a glimpse of them through the windows. There were some things in the front of the Olson's Mercantile, but the back was always empty. So they were not as practical as Jamestown is. It's a whole. That's it. Studio in and of itself. Everything is practical. We had all of our interiors at the first 4 years at Paramount Studios, and then the last 6 years at MGM, which is now Sony.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Well, Shay Van Buren wants to know, what was your favorite place to film in Walnut Grove?
I like being in town the most because there was the most to sort of do. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of places to go, lizard and frog hunting and all the things I did in between scenes. Um, and it just seemed like there were always more people there. So there was always, there's always more people to play with, which was very important to me.
Okay, you can blow my whole childhood thing. The little house itself, was it just a facade?
It was a whole house, but there
Oh, it
was
was.
nothing,
Okay, nothing inside, just empty inside.
more
Okay.
or less.
Okay. Okay, well, at least it was a whole house. I can
Yes,
take
it
that.
was. It definitely was. We could run in and out for sure.
Okay.
And the barn was complete because that's where they'd store the cattle and horses. They'd be in the corrals there when we used them. So that was all practical.
What a place. What a place it was. Well, there's a storyline in When Calls the Heart about Angela Canfield, who is blind and is considering pursuing a college for the blind where Helen Keller was a guest lecturer. We were reminded this week of your performance as Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker, and I believe Patty Duke played Annie Sullivan.
That's true.
Then, what are your memories of playing that role?
So many, a myriad of memories from that. It was my first time on stage, actually. We did it as a play first.
Okay.
Oh,
We did it for 6 weeks in Palm Beach, Florida, at the Royal Poinciana Playhouse, and that was my first time ever doing a play. So by the time we shot the movie, we'd done it so many times, we knew exactly what we were doing, which was a real luxury and a great gift to be able to have. It was one of those life-changing experiences for so many different reasons in so many different ways, but it really made me see what I did, my job as an actor, in a different light, because I had to stretch so much further than I had to play this character. And so it was a real challenge. And it was a lot of responsibility also, stepping into the role that Patty Duke had played, with Patty Duke there, although she was so warm and sweet and wonderful and loving and like a second mom to me. We did 3 movies together, actually, and remained very close until she passed.
Mhm.
Hi, Chicago.
This is Chicago.
It
What did she say?
changed my life and opened me up and made me want to become an even better actor. And also, that was the first movie that I produced with my company that my manager created. So I was 14, and then I started learning how to produce at that point and getting more and more involved, and we'd go on to produce The Diary of Anne Frank and the remake of Splinter in the Grass and a couple other TV movies. And so that was a very important time in my life.
So
I
cool.
learned
It's a searing performance. I'll never forget it. It's
it
never
really,
left me.
I have to say, it touched me, and so anyway, and I ended up becoming a teacher of the visually impaired later on.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yes, and that was an amazing performance. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Special. Well, we did see that Jack Wagner did some press last week and talked a little bit about let us know that we'll still be seeing Georgie again this season, that she's going to be back. So what can you tease about her reappearance? Does she nail down those?
Though?
What did he say?
I don't want to let any cats out of the bag unless Jack's already relinquished them.
It's just us. Let him out.
I don't know that he let any cats out of the bag outside of the fact that you're coming back. I don't think he said too much. I mean, wait, I take that back. He did talk about some romance, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He hinted there would be more.
It was. He just said there was a big kiss.
Oh, he used the K word.
He did.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I can confirm that that things heat up a bit. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yeah, there you go, Hardee's. Confirmation from both sides of the big K word, potentially.
Yes.
Love it. Well, Carolyn Galgano of Sutton, Massachusetts, is among the Hardys who feel protective of Bill. You mentioned this a little bit, Melissa, that he's had some heartbreak over the years. And should we get a season 13, she wonders if you might become a recurring character and a true love interest for Bill. We
I
get a
sure
season-
hope so. I really do. I don't know. I would be much more cheeky about this if I did know. And I don't know right now. I am very, very hopeful though. And I mean, they're going to have to start making decisions soon if they are going to have a season 13. So once you guys hear, everyone hears that there is a season 13, we'll then know, I'll know if I get a phone call.
Well,
so
it
Hardys,
always
if you want to
seems
see
like there's,
more,
yeah, sorry.
let
It
Hallmark
always
know.
seems like there's a lot to investigate around Hope Valley. So
Yes, there is. There's certainly, there's always
yeah,
something going on. You know, we
Yeah.
still haven't solved the coin mystery.
right.
So
Yeah, so that'll be
we
fun
need
to
that
see how that plays
coin,
out.
and then
there's
you
the
know,
great train robbery. And then we've
Mhm.
got, and there could be other crimes. There's always something. I mean, it's, you know.
we have a lot of crimes, really.
Yeah. They all seem to come to Hope Valley for some reason.
Yeah,
It
I
does
don't know.
feel
And
like-
that's where all the really good detectives and the really smart RCMP people
Exactly.
are. Why, if you were a criminal, I would not go to Hope Valley. That'd be the last place I would go. You're gonna
Between
get
our
caught.
journalists, our journalist investigators, and our Mounties, it's
Yeah, this is not a place you want to try and hide out at all. We're gonna find you.
even the kids are getting into the act this season, and
I
you know,
know,
investigating.
investigating the fish and the water, and
Yeah.
I know.
You
Well,
don't
it
wanna
does feel
do
like we've
anything
just
wrong.
scratched the surface with Georgie and Bill for sure. So that
Oh,
would be
absolutely. This is
nuts, yeah.
it is definitely the stuff we've shot goes further.
Well, I think Carolyn was the one who said she's going to go see the show still. She wasn't the only one though, somebody else did, but she also is a big fan of Modern Prairie and says, let me get it right. She adores her Beatrix dress and pot holders that she got. When I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I went through my Laura Ashley phase. I could go right back to this. Tell me about Modern Prairie. It's really beautiful.
Well, Modern Prairie is, I mean, we definitely have the retail side of it, which is very important. We sell obviously clothing, which we did not anticipate.
Oh, wow.
Nicole and I did not think we were going to get into the clothing retail business. We knew we wanted to do pottery, we wanted to do tabletop, we wanted to do candles, and all of the businesses we work with are the majority of them, actually, pretty much all are female owned.
Nice.
So we're all about supporting women in business. But the beautiful thing that happens because of the retail side of our business is we're able to fund all of our free programs, including our app. And our programs and events are all geared towards women more or less over 50. But they range in everything from, you know, how to deal with grief during the holidays to how to make a perfect pie crust to how to travel on your own for the first time, dealing with finances for the first time. Of course, the physical changes we go through as we age and go through menopause. Crafting, we have quilting classes, we have embroidery classes, watercolor classes, felting classes. We have cooking classes, and then we have a regular meeting called Heart to Heart, where the women can, with a grief counselor, where the women can share about what they're going through in their lives at that moment that's particularly difficult for them to walk through. And then we have our app. And the Modern Prairie app is a community for women, and it's grown by leaps and bounds. Really, we've had nothing to do with it. We came up with the idea, we created the space, we monitor it. I'm there every day. I read all of the posts. But what's happened is this community of women from all across the country and world now are, you know, we're all different areas, all different religions, all different people, all different ideas and beliefs. But unlike the way people communicate with each other in the greater social media world, there's kindness and love and understanding and non-judgment and compassion. And that is because of, and we call them the Prairians. It's because of the Prairians. They have done that. They are that way. And, you know, I've made a few comments here and there to keep politics out of the conversation because it inevitably gets prickly and we don't want that.
Yeah, right.
And the Prairians have been so supportive of one another. And now they're starting to meet up and do things together and go places together and meet for lunch. And it's amazing to see. Um, it's great to have a space where we can support one another because, I mean, who knows better what we're going through than us, right? It's really hard to discuss with someone considered a
Wow.
kid or discuss with a man or, or a partner or whatever.
I had no idea there was that whole other side to it. And I did hear you referencing it, and it was so evocative to me of the Hardys. That's really been our goal too, is just to be a kind space um and again, that whole mission of learning to talk to each other and listen to each other. And
Exactly. Well, that's why we created the app because even on our Facebook page, people get rude,
yeah.
as they
Yeah.
have on the Hardee's the When Calls the Heart Facebook page. As you
Mhm.
know, there's no
Yeah.
control for that, but
Yeah.
we're pretty stringent about it, and we will ask people to take things down if they're incendiary in any way. But there really hasn't been, so we
So
really
nice.
It
That's
sounds
good.
like an amazing fit for Hardee's. I mean, I poked around the site a bit and everything I saw was just like, this is such a good, I hope some Hardee's seek it out now as a result of
yeah,
your
yeah, and definitely check
experience
out
and
the events in the app because they're all
Perfect.
free.
It's
yeah, great.
perfect.
And
Yeah,
if
I
the,
love
the
that.
is the app just called Modern Prairie? If they
It
search
is
that,
the
they'll find
Modern
it.
Prairie
Okay.
app. I can
Mhm.
actually show you what it looks like on my phone.
It's
Yeah,
so
it just
funny
seems
because
like
that's our world that we're in every day in our
Mhm.
private Facebook group. So it's so interesting to talk to somebody who understands exactly what we do and in the
Here,
conversation.
but
Let's see it.
that's the app,
Yeah.
All right, great.
Nice.
and then we
All
have
right. Well, we'll link it so Hardee's can find it.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
a great
That's
idea.
great.
Such a good
Uh,
fit.
yeah, perfect. Saskia Elias of the Netherlands wonders, what do you think is the secret to a series staying dear to fans for 50 years and spending a decade on the air?
Well, I think the secret in this instance was the guidance and vision of Michael Landon. He was telling stories that were so relevant then, the stories of what we were experiencing as a nation and world in 1974 through the lens of 1874. And those stories, so much of that is still not resolved in so many ways. So those stories are
So
still
true, isn't
resonating.
it? Yes.
The stories about racism and the stories about anti-Semitism and the stories about misogyny and alcohol abuse and drug abuse. This is all stuff we're still talking about. So Little House remains relevant today because, unfortunately or fortunately, those are the things we're still dealing with and talking about.
Yeah, it's so true. It's funny because I was polling our admin team and saying, remind me of things that Little House covered, and they listed so many of those things. It really was it was such a deep show in that regard.
It was
Um,
deep and it got very dark sometimes. There was a two-parter called Sylvia about a young girl who
Oh,
was raped and got pregnant and was with Albert and then she died. And I mean, that stuff's terrifying. I mean, it was the blacksmith with the clown, with the Pierrot doll clown mime mask. I mean,
Mm,
that's
wow, that is dark. Yeah.
I
edgy.
think
yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
toughest episodes to watch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
one.
That's edgy. Burning down the blind
Mhm.
skull with
Oh,
Mary's baby inside. That's edgy.
and it was out and Albert.
And it was Albert who lit it on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I want to know is how
Mhm.
you
Penny.
get the fans to come back to an event 50 years later, because that's what I'm thinking ahead to, like
I dream of that.
The
Yes.
Hardys, and
Mhm.
like, will we still be getting together and after
I have to say, and I would love for this to be the norm, but I think we are the exception. I don't think, I mean, I can't think of any other show that would garner that kind of attention. It's Little House on the Prairie went into syndication while we were filming. So it was
Wow.
never off the air. And it
Right.
went into syndication all over the world then. So it's literally been on all over the world every day, multiple times a day, um, for 50 years. And so much so that
So the
Roku,
access to it has never stopped.
no, Roku has a Little House on the Prairie channel. It's only Little House on the
24/7.
24/7.
24/7.
I know that's my husband's workout channel.
I
On the
love it.
treadmill. He puts on the Little House Roku channel, which is
Wow,
cool.
amazing. I love that. Very
Oh,
cool. And what do you think of this reboot?
You know what? To each his own. Great luck to them. I think that there's plenty of room in the Little House universe for other interpretations, just like we've seen multiple Little Women's. We've seen multiple streetcars named Desire. We've seen
Right.
multiple versions of different tales and tellings of different stories. And from what I understand, this version's going to hew a lot closer to the books
Oh,
than we did.
interesting. Okay.
So we'll
Wow.
see.
So you're not involved in the
Not at all. No,
Okay.
not at
Okay.
all.
All right. Well, we'll just wait and see. It's funny that you should mention Little Women because Brian Bird did a Little Women's Christmas recently, and that's a hard, it's a hard story to retell too. So, yeah, we'll hope for the best. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we'll also hope that, that When Calls the Heart, has the same um feeling and values. I mean, it's a little more escapist. It doesn't go, occasionally we've had our dark moments, but in general, it's a pretty light, it's a lighter show. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's touched our hearts in such a way that I hope we have that kind of I think I hope it's gonna have many years to come still on the air. And we certainly have this next generation of talent to take it, for many years to come. We can hope. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's just all the business stuff attached to that
Yeah.
has any control over. It's all about ratings
Right.
and
Indeed.
money.
Indeed. But it's our business to try to get Melissa Gilbert back again and again and again, should we get a season 13. So
Well,
that would
I
be really fun.
certainly hope so. And I certainly hope that, the show goes for another season, and I would love to be invited back, and I would love to have the chance to further explore not just the relationship with Bill, but also with Georgie, and find out more of who she is. It's very, very challenging to fully form a character in just 2 episodes. It's a
Yeah.
lot to get
Yeah.
you to want to see more of that. As an actor, that's a big responsibility, and that just speaks volumes for Mike Jr. too, in having that kind of faith in me to be able to do that.
Nice.
And I really appreciate his faith in me, and he knew that I could do this. So I appreciate that so much more than I can even express.
Well,
Love
we're so grateful that Michael Landon Jr. made that decision to bring his dear friend on the show and become part of our When Calls the Heart and Hardy's family. It's just really special. And thank you for taking time out of your crazy off-Broadway schedule to make some time for us. We really appreciate it. So good to have
Thank
you.
you guys. I think I've bored my dog to
Oh,
I saw Mounty's tail behind you too, Jeanette.
Yeah,
So
mine
all
was
the dogs
stopping
are
by
coming
too.
out to talk to each other. Yeah.
They are.
so good.
Well, we would love to hear from you, Hardys. What do you think of our new character, Georgie McGill? And would you love to see more of her as much as we would love to see more of her? Drop us some comments and let's hear what you think of the character. And then we're back to our regular schedule this week. Episode 7, we'll see you Sunday at 9/8 Central. And then, of course, we'll be over on X using the hashtag Hardys. And then be sure to follow us here on the YouTube channel, and then on all of the most popular podcast platforms, you'll find us there too. So thanks for being with us today, Hardys, and we'll see you on the next Heart to Hardys.